Hey, Goldman here. Release is coming, so the classic tips and tricks video has to too. But I believe all of these 10 tips are important and can benefit your gameplay in various ways. Combat, overworld, progression, and your mental health. Let's begin. The first step is to make good consumables. In nearly all content, your operators will be able to use consumables, and these saved my life and runs many times in the early game. Not to mention they can bring other benefits like maxing out your ultimates for a tough boss fight. But anyways, stocking up on strong healing consumables takes the edge off of your team's normal sustain, or better yet, can let you run a supporter in their place whilst remaining healthy. The difference between the starting tier consumables and later ones is substantial, especially as you level up and your HP starts increasing. So I would take a little moment to set up a good factory node, even if temporary, dedicated to these. Furthermore, some outposts will want to buy them off you, so you can knock out two birds with one stone. Nice throw. And on the same topic of making stuff, I recommend making bad gear. In the early game, upgrading from the terrible basic gear to the blue stuff and then finally purple stuff does wonders for your damage. The attribute increases seriously buff your attack, the purple gear set passives are pretty decent, and their main stats are going to help a lot for your damage. These pieces will also make you tankier. There are two other reasons though. First, the game has missions that you go through for premium currency, goodies like weapons, and more. Sometimes they'll want you to craft early tier gear, and so if you skip them, you'll have to go back and make a factory dedicated to them anyway. The other reason is that not every operator can use the best gold gear you're aiming for anyway, at least not right away. Equipping gear tiers is locked to operator progression, and so especially in the early game when resources are thin, you won't be able to upgrade everyone in one team to golden gear anyway. Now, for a quick combat tip, team order is very important in this game. Combo skills that activate based on the same ability or attack triggering them will have their activation trigger order based on the team order. So if I run Wolfguard to the left of Antal, his combo triggers first when applying an Art's Infliction. If I put Antal to the left of Wolfguard, I can now trigger Antal's combo first. This is and will be important for team rotations where you want a specific order in which you activate combos so you don't waste inflictions or get the wrong art's reaction. An example of this is if using Gilberta in your Levitain team. You don't want Antal to accidentally copy a physical status from Gilberta or a nature infliction from her. And we want Wolfguard combo to use the nature infliction in order to apply combustion. What this means is we want an order of Wolfguard, Antal, Gilberta, Levitain. And this will all change depending on your main carry, but also your supports. Anyways, the next tips are progression based. Sometimes you might advance your progression way too fast. Maybe take it chill. But if you don't want to, you'll notice when farming for your operators that there are multiple stage difficulties. But maybe you didn't farm them at all, and now you have to slog through all of these to get to the more efficient high level stages. Now, you'll have to go through them unless release changes, sorry, but you should clear them and then not take the clear reward, as that will consume Sanity, your refreshing stamina resource. That means you can save your precious Sanity for those stronger stages and get more bang for your buck. Speaking of resources, they are precious. You'll hit a moment where suddenly all this upgrading costs way too many credits. It costs so many materials you just don't have. Just like the start of any new grindy game or gacha, conserve your resources and focus on your best and favorite one team. Focus on the main carry of said team, their weapon, their abilities, and talents that provide a substantial bonus. Then you can keep the rest of your squad a step behind but not forgotten, but just focusing on that main damage dealer that will carry you through the early stages of the game. Investing in multiple teams in the early game will just result in all your operators ending up weak, maybe too weak to even tackle the ever-increasing level of the overworld enemies. Do what you like though if you find trying everyone out more fun. But now I'm going to hit you with 4 more progression-oriented tips that are all about efficient exploration. Set up electricity and ziplines when you can if you really want to save time later. If you see a spot that was hard to get to, set up a zipline for the next time you're there. If you see a bunch of mining spots you know you want in the future, why not walk around linking it to your main base with some electrical pylons? There will be mini packs on the map that you can bring power from, so take note of them, but some places are far away from any nearby electricity source, so if you ever end up near a good resource, you can link it up early if you want to avoid a headache later on. Now, another reason why ziplines can be so important though are rare resources. Operators need these rare resources and multiple different types to upgrade stuff like their level, ability level, weapon level, and you won't want to miss out when they spawn. These resources slowly refresh based on a timer, and so you want to make sure at least that the timer is going so you're not wasting potential resources. If that sounds too sweaty for you, feel free to ignore it. Anyway, you can find these on the map through their 2 different icons depending on if they're a plant or an ore. Just go over and grab them when you can. But setting up a good zipline foundation from any nearby TPs will save so much time in the long run. Another thing that resets that you might want to maximize are the recycling centers. Every day they reset, and when interacted with, they give materials you'll need to upgrade your beautiful spaceship. Your spaceship gives rooms to craft and grow a ton of progression materials, so making sure you upgrade it ASAP means you can start maxing out your daily and weekly resource grinds. There are many centers to find out in the world, marked by this owl icon, and once you start raking in a decent amount of stock bills, you should upgrade them here and there. Upgrading them gives more of what you need as well as giving the higher tier material at a high enough level. Speaking of bills, an obvious tip is to always have part of your factory work towards something that your outposts want to trade with, and ideally something that they'll pay a lot for, so that you can trade for as many stock bills as possible. These stock bills are very important, especially when you first get to Wuling, the second region. You can buy resources, weapons even, pools sometimes, and way more important things like essence stat selectors, gear piece upgraders, all with stock bills. You'll need bills to create gear pieces as well. Upgrading stuff like recycling centers needs it, upgrading shops needs it. It's a separate and important currency that you want to have a lot of at all times. For even more bill maxing, be sure to add as many friends as possible so you can get as many stock markets as possible. If you haven't played, it sounds weird, but you can buy unusable goods in your stock exchange and sell them at other people's stock exchanges. This can lead to insane stock bill spikes, as you can buy something low in your home and sell it for 10 times the price at a friend's place. You can check friends' prices when clicking on an elastic good, then all you have to do is visit their ship from your own ship interface. And obviously be sure to do any resetting missions that can give stock bills, like your goods deliveries or your photo taking in Wuling. Missing out on doing these is fine in the long run, but doing them whilst you can helps a lot in the early game. And for a final couple of tips, I just wanted to speak about enjoying the game. I first want to mention that you shouldn't worry about meta if the beta 2 is anything to go by. The endgame was pretty undemanding. Maybe it'll get harder, as it is a gacha game after all, but I will say that every standard team feels plenty viable so far. Some teams feel weaker, clunkier, less synergistic, sure, but no standard team failed to beat what it needed to. So you'll see rankings, meta review, tier lists, etc. sometimes maybe even from me, but just remember to enjoy the game and your favorite operators. And truly have fun. Spend and play responsibly. Remember, a new gacha game comes with tons of new FOMO and hype. You don't have to go crazy and pull. You don't need the new shiny limited operator. In my guides, I'll always explain the best alternatives to a character, alternatives to signature weapons, and show the power increase from duplicate copies. So stay safe, good luck, and I'll see you in Endfield. Have a guoba day.